everybody, today I'm doing a review of William Tyndale's New Testament. Oops, there you go. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks so much for watching. So here is the Tyndale New Testament. It is 4 inches by 6 inches and it's 1¼ inches deep. It is a hardback book and it has one red cloth ribbon. It has a slipcover, which I think is very attractive. And a good place to look at this is historically to begin with is this inscription. I bought this book used, and the inscription is from December 25th, 2006, and it says, "Dear Jonathan, Merry Christmas. It is my joy to present to you the first printing of the first New Testament to be translated from the Greek manuscripts into English. Love, Dad, Matthew 25:35. And this verse is the one that begins, "I was hungry and you fed me." And it's really, really nice because at this time, basically, people did not have access to the Bible. In the 400s, Jerome transferred from the original languages into Latin. And then in 1325, Wycliffe translated from the Latin into English. So it was a translation of a translation. And then here in the 1500s, Tyndale went back to the original languages and translated the New Testament and part of the Old Testament into English. And so we had the printing press then, and so basically he was able to do this and to get it to people very, very inexpensively, so that the average working person could do it could purchase it. So, for example, the Wycliffe, perhaps a group of people together could buy it. It was the whole Bible at that time. But here with this New Testament, the average person could own this. It was a risk, of course, because it was illegal to own it, and we'll see a little bit of that later. But anyway, so once again, it has the paper slipcase, and if you would like to read the slipcase, you can pause and read it. Hopefully that's focused. There we go. So you can pause and read that if you would like to. It is a cloth overboard book. Here's this end of it, 1526. It is a sewn binding with the red ribbon. It's got the tail bands there. The complaint I have about the binding is that it will not lay flat. So I'm going to have to hold it open for everything, as we look at this. The paper is thick paper. It's book paper. It's not Bible paper. So it's very, very, no ghosting, very easy to see. When you open the book, you have a leaf from the original one of the originals, and it's the opening of the Gospel of John. You can actually get books of these facsimiles, but this kind of type to me gets a little bit tedious to read. But it says, "In the beginning was that Word, so that Word was with God, and God was that Word. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by it, and without it was made no thing that made was. In it was life, and life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and darkness comprehended it not." So really, really pretty. You can see the book was a pretty book, even though it had to be done hastily, because again, it was illegal. This is put out by the British Library in 2000. Here is the ISBN number if you would like to take note of it, so you can easily find it if you want to pick up a used copy. All this text is available free in many Bible apps. It's got a very nice preface that gives the history of the Bible in English. You can pause there if you want to and read it. I'll read you one short portion here. Make sure we're focused. There we go. It says, "Tyndale made in English, which is often so recognizably modern that it seems natural even when it is included in the most recent translations. So Jesus says, 'Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you.' He says to the disciples in the Garden of Gethsemane, 'Could ye not watch with me 1 hour? The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.' Paul writes, 'O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from this body of death?' And then again down here, 'This New Testament gave to our language many common phrases, still in use, like eat, drink, and be merry, fight the good fight, the wages of sin is death, and the powers that be.'" So you can read this introduction also. I think the text falls into the gutter more than I would like it to. You can pause and read. The introduction gives more on Tyndale himself. You had to have permission to translate from the Latin into any language, and Tyndale sought permission. Tyndale had endeavored to obtain a license from Cuthbert Tunstall, Bishop of London, to translate and print the scriptures, but the following year he was coolly rebuffed and went overseas to carry on the work. So he did attempt to get permission. It was refused. No one got permission to translate it into English. It was illegal to have it in English. And Tyndale was a fugitive and was ultimately imprisoned for a long period of time in poor conditions, was burned at the stake, and the one mercy showed him was that he was strangled before he was burned. So you can pause here and read some of this if you would like. And then here's the opening. Nice little illustration. Here is the books of the Bible. Hopefully all these are being in focus. Check it there. So you'll see one thing is that their Roman numerals are different than ours. You see they go through 4 with the actual I's. So our 4 is like IV, but their 4 is 4 I's. And the final I is always like extended a little, so it looks like a J. So here again, 14 is X with 4 I's after it, rather than XIV. So it's kind of interesting. Each book begins on its own page. It is not red text. Sometimes you'll come across a word that I just don't know what it is, but you know in the context what's going on. But nonetheless, every now and again, about maybe 5 times, I've come across a word that I actually don't know what the word is. I'll read a little to you so you can get a feeling of what it sounds like. Make sure we're in focus. Okay. Another similitude he put forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while he slept, then came his foe, and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. When the blade was sprung up and had brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. The servants came to the householder and said unto him, Sir, sowedest not thou good seed in thy close? From whence then hath it tares? He said to them, The envious man hath done this. Then the servants said unto him, Why wilt thou then? Then the servants said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather it? And he said, Nay, lest while ye go about to weed out the tares, ye pluck up also with them the wheat by the roots. Let both grow together till harvest come. And in time of harvest I will say unto my reapers, Gather ye first the tares, and bind them in sheaves to be burnt, or in this case brent, to be brent, but gather the wheat into my barn. So obviously close is field, but it's just not a word I'd ever heard before. Here's another example so you can hear how it sounds compared to the King James, beginning at Matthew chapter 23, verse 24. Woe be to you, scribes and Pharisees, dissemblers, for ye tithe mint, anise, and cumin, and leave the weightier matters of the law undone, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye to have done, and not to have left the other undone, ye blind guides, which strain out a gnat and swallow a camel. I hope that wasn't focused. I forgot to tap it in. So here's a nice example of capitalization. Capitalization's inconsistent. Sometimes the deity is capitalized and sometimes it's not. Same with proper names. And sometimes sentences are capitalized and sometimes not. Like here you can see the end of a sentence, but the W is not capitalized, which would begin the next one. And here a sentence ends, but the next sentence isn't capitalized. If the capitalization of God, not capitalized, this wasn't something that was fully in practice at that time. So it's not meant to be dishonoring. It's just the way things were and weren't then. Let's see, what else have we got? Oh, I should say that obviously you can see that things are spelled much differently than we spell them. And when I was reading a review, someone had complained that there were typos in every line, but this is just the way the spelling was then. This is perfectly acceptable at the time. It isn't consistent. You'll see the same word spelled many different ways. But that's just, the language was not standardized in that way. One thing that's also very nice is, well, it's endearing. It's not accurate, but it's endearing, is Tyndale almost always calls Passover, Easter, unleavened bread, sweet bread, and leavened bread, sourdough. This is 1 Corinthians 5:7. It says, "Your rejoicing is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven soureth the whole lump of dough? Purge therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new dough, as ye are sweet bread. For Christ our Easter lamb is offered up for us. Therefore let us keep holy day, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of maliciousness and wickedness, but with the sweet bread of pureness and truth." Tyndale did additional editions of this book where he corrected whatever he thought needed correcting. He thought they were superior to it. But this is the first edition, and I think it has a very nice charm, just the way it is. Chapter headings are sometimes in writing, the second chapter, and other times they are in Roman numerals. As you can see, there's the 3, and then once again 4 not being IV. Oh, this is an interesting one. Every now and again you'll come across one that's hard to figure out what is the spelling. And in this case, my husband was able to figure out right off the bat. This one is riot. So, if any be such, so obviously talking about appointing people into positions in the church, if any be such as no man can complain on, the husband of one wife, having faithful children, which are not slandered of riot, neither are disobedient. So, riot there. And then here at the back is a list of errors in his printing. So here it tells you which leaf it was. So this is leaf 3, the second side, and then where in the leaf it is, which brings to mind, I think you've probably noticed this already, that while we have chapter headings, there are no verse numberings. And the Bible had not been versed at that time yet. And one last note about corrections in this edition is in the introduction here. There we go. Make sure that's focused, hopefully. It says, "In the present edition, the 1526 text has been silently corrected for errors committed in the pressing," and that's what I just showed you in the back, "whether or not noted by Tyndale on that page. Words divided by his German compositors, such as within, for within, have been reunited, but no attempt has been made to change the spellings which, if they look odd today, were accepted by Tyndale and his contemporaries." So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the Tyndale New Testament and hearing bits of it. And you can, once again, there are editions, I believe, of the 1526 and later ones in our spelling. If you don't like these kinds of spellings, I love these kinds of spellings myself. You can also get the facsimile so that you're reading the book in this Gothic type. That's available. This is, of course, Roman type, but with the original spellings, which for me is the best of both worlds. And then, of course, you can also get this Roman type with the original spellings in many different Bible apps for free. I found this book used. It was a little on the pricey side. It was, I think it was something like $40. I'm not sure. But to me, Tyndale is a treasure. This is a really sweet translation, I think, anyway. About 80% of the text was brought right into the King James, virtually unchanged. So I hope that was enjoyable to you. And I also have the Wycliffe, which is a bit different, the one that was translated from the Latin, so I'll do a review of that one as well at some point. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. God bless you.